Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. It's me, Atten, here yet again with yet another C++ tutorial. However, I hope this tutorial will be a little bit more interesting and a little bit more inspiring today. Now, it's going to be just a little bit more difficult. However, I hope that people can follow along, and my comments section is open should anyone have any questions. But for this tutorial today, we're going to have to go ahead and include another header file, which is going to be include f stream. Now this is going to be important because, we actually are going to use the f stream in order to access the console's input. So we're going to go ahead and create ourselves a char array. So basically what a char array is that it's basically like a regular char, for example data, where you store a single variable. A char array is where you basically create many of these variables and declare them into one variable. So it's like creating a long list of variables. So let's say you have char data and you do char 1 and so on and so forth. Basically a char array works by creating many variables on top of your for example, data variables. Let's do 90. And what this will do is that it will allow us to access, one of these 90 variables that's declared under data. So let's do, for example, data 1. And you were to put in, say, the number, or I should say the character, L. And you were to do, for example, data, 2 equal to character A, and you were to do, for example, with 3 equal to character B. Basically, how char arrays work is that, they are capable of absorbing multiple characters without having to declare multiple variables. So, you can have, with char arrays, you can do all kinds of very fancy stuff and store, quite a tremendous amount of data simply by using these little brackets here and selecting how many spaces you want to put into this variable. Now, let's go ahead and just do cout data, and I'll give you an example of what this would look like. Go ahead and run it. It seems we've made a bit of a mistake. I'll just do data 0, and we will go ahead and just put a white space here, and we'll go ahead and try that again. It says here lab. So basically here, char arrays, when you call them, will give you the entire list of the data stored under them, and that does make them very helpful for storing things like text, like names, so on and so forth. However, hard coding in, for example, variables into a char array is pretty useless, since we're actually going to want to be using the char array for something practical like storing someone's name. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and actually create a practical program. So we're going to do cout, and we're going to do who are you, and we're going to end this line. And what we're going to do is we're going to do sin arrow data, and then we're going to end that line there, and we're going to do cout hello, and we're going to do space arrow, and we're going to do data. And we're going to go ahead and build and run it, and hopefully this should work. Atom. Hello, Atom. So basically here, I'll go ahead and explain how this works. Now, to the best of my knowledge here, I'm pretty sure I'm getting this part right. Fstream basically includes the data, the actual functions required in order to access sin or console in, where you can stream data from the console into variables into RAM, where you can then address those variables and get an output. Char array, I've gone over this. You basically have a character array. You have 9. You can store a maximum of 90 characters under this array, and this basically goes ahead and asks you who you are. You enter the name of who you are, and that goes from for example, the console, input to data using these arrows here, and you can see a relationship between these and these. Basically, this is for outputting it to console. So syn and cout. So cout and syn, these two functions have a very strong relationship. This is where you can get data and you can stream it into a variable. This is where you stream data, basically out. So you can do syn and probably do this and stream data that you punch in directly out to the console. So I've actually never tried this before, but we'll go ahead and see whether or not this will actually work. Oh, well, it didn't really seem to work, but you'd get the point. Basically, syn works to provide you with, data that you can get out of the console simply by using this line. You can put anything you want here, and it will stream data from the console in to the data, and then you can then use cout to stream that data to the console output. So that's a simple input-output operation using, C++, and that's how you can basically get the program to say your name. So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's just a very simple, explanation of character arrays and of the input stream systems in console applications. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as homework, I'd very much like to see people perhaps mess around with this and see what they can actually make out of it. And in the next video, we'll be moving on to logic, but until then, I'm just going to end this video and wish you guys the best. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them below, and I'll get on to logic, I believe, sometime later on.